and Mobtana is now back on TikTok and running amok. I don't know if the bloke's on drugs, I don't know if he's drunk, but all I'm gonna say to Mobtana is this one thing, yeah? When you went live once, I saw a whole heap of kids at your house in the background. There was, I don't know if they're your kids or if they're your nephews or your nieces. Seriously, bro. Like, I'm 42 years old. You've got at least 5-6 years on me from when I came in, yeah? Bro, grow the fuck up, yeah? Be an example to those kids that are at your house. Be an example to the younger generation, the young adults that are coming through now, because you have been through it. Underworld Bill has been through it. I have been through it. But the difference between me and you is you have never, ever, not once reached the freaking levels that I've reached. You're nothing, you know, compared to the levels that I've reached. And I'm only saying this because I'm upset at how you went and put that video out last night. So I'm gonna tell it how it is, bro. Appreciate you guys. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you to everyone that's coming on right now. I appreciate you guys. There's a lot that's been going on in the last freaking 3 weeks. I know I disappeared for about 2 weeks there, but I had to spend some quality time with the family. JG, appreciate you, my man. Thank you very much. Thanks. And I just want to, first, before I start, guys, appreciate you. Thank you. Send out a big Merry Christmas to everyone out there. I apologize to everyone that's been messaging through and I haven't replied. I've got over 2,000 messages that I can't keep up with. CQ, appreciate you, Nina, thank you. But I'm trying. I'm doing my best to reply to everyone that's been messaging through, but it's very hard, you know what I mean? I'm no celebrity whatsoever, but the influx of messages that I'm getting is not about my status or anything that I'm going through. It's literally about people reaching out, thanking me for stuff that I've been talking about, from the kids to the parents that have been messaging me and that have received my replies. I know that it's greatly appreciated. Thank you very much. And to everyone that I haven't replied to, I'm really sorry. I know a lot of people message through saying Merry Christmas and congratulations to me and my wife. And obviously, like, I haven't replied because of the amount of messages that I'm getting. But just know, everyone, that I'm doing my best to get through all these messages, and it is greatly appreciated. Not only by myself, but also from my beautiful wife. You know, she really appreciates all the messages that come through. But yeah, I hope everyone, appreciate you, had a good Christmas holidays. I spent mine with my loved ones. For those of you who don't know, I was in for 7 years, and I only did those 7 years because I tried to stick up for those that I considered my brothers, and I ended up getting myself in trouble. There was no reason for me to get involved, but my younger brother was a part of it, but also my cousins were a part of it. And because I'm the oldest, I felt obligated to intervene. And my foolishness is the reason why I got 7 years in prison, which is the reason why I'm always going live and I'm speaking out to the younger generation, the young adults. You know, if you dare to put your foot in that mud, then it could turn quickly into quicksand, and you'll end up drowning with your friends or with your brothers. You know what I mean? That's what happened to me. I had nothing to do with what my brother and my cousins were involved in back in 2017. But because I'm the oldest, when they reached out for help, the first thing that I did was I flew back to Australia. I was in Hong Kong at the time. I just got back from, I think it was Paris, Dubai, and I was in Hong Kong when I heard the news. I was actually scrolling through Facebook when I saw it, and then everyone told me what happened. Flew back, tried to swindle a move in order to get them less time, but I ended up getting myself locked up, you know, and that's why I say all the time, you know, like, fair enough when you're trying to stick up for your friends, but remember, when you're inside prison, how are you going to take care of your family? You know, when you're inside prison, how are you going to take care of your sister when she's going to school? When you're inside prison, how are you going to be there for your parents when they're down and out? This is all I'm trying to explain. I'm not asking anyone to listen to me. I'm not asking any of you younger generation to listen to anything that I say. I'm explaining my story with the hope that you guys learn from it. If you do, cool. If you don't, it is what it is with Triggz. Say, appreciate you. But before I move forward, please, guys, I need you all to tap it up. The likes, it plays a big part with me spreading my word out there. Also, for those of you who see that heart on me, I appreciate you, everyone that sent it through. I need you guys to heart me. I've put up there on my goal 50 hearts. So There's already 447 people watching my live, and all I put up there as a goal is 50 hearts. So if you haven't heart me, please, that's gonna help my movement. Now, there's been a lot that's been going on, and a lot of things that's been sent to me over the last 2 to 3 weeks. I know I disappeared for 2 weeks there, but like I said, it's my first Christmas and New Year's out, so I decided to spend it with those that I love most. And I actually pushed social media and all my businesses aside, just to make sure that I cater to those that I love. But I think I'm going to start this live off with a lot of questions that were asked about two gangs called OC and S2F. Like I said many times, I don't consider these guys enemies. They were all just young guys trying to make a name for themselves. And when they all got out of prison, especially OC, they did a lot of talking on social media, and my name got dragged through the mud for 9 years. Yeah, I kept my mouth shut for 9 years, and as soon as I got out after these 7, I decided to correct everything that they had spread, especially this guy Frenny. He was the instigator of all the rubbish that was on social media. And then along came the rapper that calls himself Mussy Rook. He was the next person to step up to the plate after Frenny and start talking all the rubbish that he was talking on how he was being bullied, on how the younger boys had to stick up for themselves because the older boys were making them do things that they didn't want to do. But as I've said many times, none of this had ever happened. This was the Frenny and Mussy's way of trying to lure in all the younger boys so they could make their crew bigger. And their crew went from 7 to 200 within a span of 3 months. And I'm not guessing, I'm actually saying this because one of the officers at Goulburn, he told me, appreciate you, Messi. Thank you to everyone sending through gifts. He actually said to me, he goes, wow, he goes, that incident that just happened 3 months ago with you and OC, he goes, did you hear what happened? I said, what? He goes, man, the gang has blown up from 7 to 200 within 3 months. And I was like, wow. I wonder how that's happening. At the time, I didn't realize that there was so much lies running through the system. And this was the reason why all the younger generation started joining this gang, was because they thought they had to protect themselves from the older boys, which was never true. And for all the younger boys that crossed paths with me, they were the ones that were trying to shine a light on the fact that this had never happened. And this is how it worked when they had crossed paths with me. So pretty much they explained facts, they explained truth, and this gang that went from 7 to 200 strong are now dwindling in numbers. Majority of their gang have split up and either joined other gangs or they've gone straight. The guy Frenny that I'm talking about, I've seen him on social media once, and he's gone religious. And I don't know, like from what everyone says, he's changed his life wholeheartedly, and good on him. But the reason why I got on social media to fix up all the rubbish that's been said is because he was the one that highlighted all this rubbish, not only on social media, but also on Four Corners, the news. I was actually shocked. I was like, wow, it's like, this guy's brought up so many things that didn't even happen, and no one was out here to defend my name. But no one was also out here to defend all the other older boys that did so much for the younger boys. It wasn't just myself. But I can sincerely say that I was the main person that went above and beyond for all the younger generation that came into prison. But all these younger generation, 90% of them are actually good boys. They come in for charges that are rubbish. And then when they meet us, they pretty much just do what we all do. We train, we eat, we have a laugh. That's what islanders do on the outside, and that's what we were doing inside prison. But then, like my mum always says, there's always someone out there that's trying to take your place. It doesn't matter if it's in the criminal world, the legit world, governments, whoever's on top, that's what you're always going to find, is someone that's going to be crawling to the top to try to knock you off your pedestal. And And pretty much after the situation that happened with us and OC in 2016, that's clearly what all the officers were speaking about, you know, how this younger generation crew were trying to take my position in the Islander yard. And the funniest thing is, I actually told them before the situation occurred, this position is now going to belong to you guys because I'm about to go home. I was actually about to go home before these drama kicked off, you know what I mean? And obviously, like I said in my last live, this is how they scaled so quickly, is because they used mine and my brother's name by saying we were the ones that took out the two brothers, Triggz and 212 Heat. And for those of you who know the story, those of you around the world that are watching right now that don't understand the story, my brother and I, we were frontline soldiers for all the islanders, Pacific Islanders inside prison in New South Wales. New South Wales prisons is 10 times worse than any prison around Australia. And the prisons here in New South Wales, they have a prison called Goulburn. And Goulburn is the only prison in Australia that's ever split up the four main nationalities in prison, which is the Asians, the Islanders, the Lebanese, and the Aboriginal boys. So my thing is, the reason why I'm bringing up these two gangs, OC and S2F, is because a lot of people kind of think that I'm trying to seek revenge against these guys. Look, everyone that was with me during my time that I just completed, the 7 years, everybody knows that I attacked them on sight. And the reason why I attacked them on sight was because I was trying to keep myself safe. For 2 years, I was at Silverwater prison by myself. I was the only bloodline member in Silverwater. And so whenever I bumped into these guys, whether there was one of them, three of them, it didn't matter. Whatever numbers they had, I walked in and I did what needed to be done. And I'm not saying this to try to be a hard guy. I'm only saying this because I'm explaining the fact that I was only trying to survive. You know what I mean? These young guys, they don't play around. They're always walking around with sheaves. For those of you who are in America who are watching, a sheave here in Australia, to you guys it's called a shank, you know. And for those of you who are legit and don't know what these two meanings are, it's just a homemade knife, but made in prison. Now, one of the things that I wanted to highlight was I'm outside and I've taken the path of change, and a lot of people out there, including my own, have taken this as weakness. Yeah. So a lot of people that I'm very, very close with, they kind of like have got this thing in their head where they're like, far out. That's not the Triggz we know. That's not the Triggz that led us, you know, in the front line. But sorry guys, I'm not taking any calls. And all the way until the day that I got out, I was attacking these guys on sight. But like I said, I was doing this because I was protecting myself. For those of you who watched the live that I did a couple of weeks ago of the young Tongan guy, Chris, who got stabbed in the face, this is the reason why I go hard when I see anyone that's got an issue with me, is because I didn't want to come home with one eye. Now, for those of you who have been in the prison system, or for those of you that know a lot of people inside the prison system in New South Wales, all of you guys know that there was a lot of people that went in all good and then come out no good. There was a guy, his name is Fred, Islander guy, you know, he got jumped at Lithgow prison and he ended up with one eye, you know. And I'm not going to tell his story because that's for him to tell, you know. I don't want to get into it. But the reason why I'm bringing it up is because Chris also had the same thing to him, you know. He didn't know that he was going to get stabbed in the morning. Bang, got hit, just missed his eye and hit him on the top brow. But here is where it was all effed up. And this is the reason why when I was doing what I was doing, I had to go hard, because I didn't want to come home with one eye, you know. And a lot of these guys, not just the younger generation, but also the older generation, they're always trying to make a statement now inside prison, you know. And the screws can try time and time again to search and get rid of the knives or the sheaves, but they can't. There's people inside prison have got nothing else to do. They've got time to conjure up plans, and figure out different types of ways to get away with things. For example, bringing in mobile phones, drugs, swindling moves so they could make sheaves. Like the amount of different types of sheaves that you will see when you walk inside a prison. So what happens is a lot of governors now, when you walk inside a prison to go visit an inmate, they display all the sheaves that's made inside prison, and it's their way of of highlighting the fact that prison is dangerous. So be careful, They're not trying to build a shrine to show off. It's actually their way of warning a lot of visitors when they come in. Be careful, be careful, be careful, because this is what prison's all about. Now, everyone that was messaging and asking will I forgive these guys? And I explained to them it's a very, very hard question to answer. But at the same time, if I don't walk that path of forgiveness, then what is God going to say on the time of judgment day to me? You know what I mean? This is something that's personal to me and what I have to think about and take on board. But what nobody realizes, which is what I wanted to bring up tonight, what nobody actually realizes is that these two gangs have much, much more dramas to be careful of than me. These guys have done a lot of shit goes, especially that Frenny and that Mussy. They've done a lot of shit goes to a lot of the Muslim boys, the Assyrian boys. Remember, these guys went from 7 to 200 men strong inside prison within 3 months, yeah? And when they had the manpower, they did what everyone else does when they have the power. They start being bullies, and this is what makes me laugh at how they go and say that I was a bully and my brother was a bully, yet we never had any numbers. The Bloodline crew was always lacking in numbers, but not lacking in frontline soldiers. Everyone did what needed to be done. And that's why when the newspapers try to tell our story, which they don't even know, they always say these are the older guys that have been going on with it since the early 2000s, which is the truth. But these younger guys, mate, the amount of shit goes that they have done, they don't even have to worry about me. I'm doing my family thing, so they will always walk around watching their own backs because of all the issues that they caused inside prison. And this is what gets me. I understand a lot of yous out there are sending messages to me saying, please, he's changed his life, or please, they're only young, forgive them. I understand that, 100% I understand that, yeah? But you just have to remember, these guys don't have to worry about me. They have to worry about all the shit goes that they've done throughout their prison time. And when I'm telling you that they jumped guys, mate, there's a islander that they jumped, yeah, and they almost killed him. This was at Wellington when they first started their gang. So pretty much their numbers went from 7 to about 30. As soon as they got Wellington prison, they started spreading this lie. All the younger generation started joining their gang. And how they got the younger generation to stick was by making them get their tattoo on them. So now the younger generation was stuck because obviously they got the tattoo on them, yeah? And for Franny to go around and telling everyone that he was the one who got all the younger islanders together so they could be strong to stick up for themselves, mate, how about you ask him about all the islanders that he jumped, yeah? About all, mate, there's so many islanders that messaged through to me explaining to me their story of when they were friends with this gang and then they got their heads jumped on, yeah? I'm not going to tell their story because a lot of these guys have changed their lives since they got out of prison. Why? Because they realized that gang life wasn't for them. Yeah, they did crime because they wanted to make money, but when they got inside prison, they joined a gang, which was OC, and then they thought it was family, islanders all together, but then they got their head jumped on from their own gang. You know, and then now they're sending me messages telling me this story, and I'm like sitting here going far out, like there's nothing I can say, guys. And they're like, yeah, bro, like now we've met you and we realize you're a gentleman and that you do take care of all the boys. We're like far out. You know, when we used to sit in meetings with them, they would like fully belittle your name and tell us how we all got to stick together like soldiers and we all got to be like vatos locos. Like those of you who know this gang, when Facebook was up and pumping back in 2016, that's what they used to stick on their profile photos, yeah? Was all the, you know, the Blood In, Blood Out movie? Boom, this was on there as their profile pictures, you know, these vatos locos rubbish. You know, I'm not trying to belittle any of those vatos locos gangs in America. All I'm saying is these guys, that's what they were trying to imitate. They had never been gangsters in their own right. All they tried to do was imitate what they saw on movies, yeah? And the reason why they didn't succeed is because they were living their life based on a lie. You know, it was a lie that built their crew, and it was that lie that drowned their crew. You know, so now he's gone religious, and he hasn't even thought about all the people that, all the young boys that he left behind, all the young boys that got chopped because of him, all the young boys that that committed, I'm not going to say the word, you know, like unalived himself. There's another one who tried to bring in drugs at Kempsey and it popped in his stomach and he got unalived. And there's also other guys who got abstain, he got unalived. Another one who got shot, he got unalived. From what I know exactly, there's more, but 5 of their members have passed away since 2016, and it's all because of that friendly. And yeah, good on him for turning religious, but you know, if you guys want to message me and ask me to forgive him, how about you ask him to go back and recognize all the trash that that has happened since he became religious. You know what I mean? You know, like I can't sit here and forgive him when he can't be honest about everything that happened. You know, like there's a guy named Moses To'o who used to run all the islanders up at Goulburn, yeah? And when he changed his life and gave his life to God, the first thing he did was he went and put himself in a position where he would get dropped. So he had a one-on-one and then he got dropped, and he stopped all the Islander boys from backing him. And then he told those Islander boys, I needed to prove to God that I had left the life, and how else better to do this but by losing my reputation. So when he got dropped several times, he lost his reputation for being the Islander Trump and also for being a good fighter, and he didn't care. You know, this was his way of showing his dedication to God and God's good word. And this is the reason why I find it very hard to forgive these people that you guys are asking me to forgive. Is because of all this that's come along since he's gone religious, you know. And the other one that's sitting in Supermax right now, I don't even want to talk about him. I don't want to give this guy a limelight here. But like I said, guys, just recognize what I'm saying. They have more problems to deal with than me. Yeah, I'm a minute problem compared to the problems that they have to deal with, because they have, like, not only these younger boys, but Frenny, who ordered a lot of these hits, yeah, inside prison. And when I say hits, I'm not talking about murders or anything like that. I'm just talking about stabbings and jumpings and all that happen inside prisons. Hey, this happens on a daily basis in prison, yeah. Not just from Frenny, but also I've done the same thing. My brother's done the same thing, but we've always done it against those who dare to be rivals with the Islanders. But he did it to anyone that got in his way. That's how he built his name, and that's how he established his game. But now he's gone religious, and his gang's gone down the toilet, and the only thing that that he can say is that he's given his life to God and he wants nothing to do with that life anymore, you know. But he hasn't recognized any of the stuff that that has happened since he's gone religious, because remember, he's the one that started it. So yeah, that's what I wanted to bring up about that. Now, before I move on to the next story, guys, I need you guys to double tap, get these likes up. 105,000. Wow, 105,000 likes in half an hour. I love yous and I appreciate you guys. Also, I need you guys to heart me. I need 50 hearts. There's already 719 people watching these live. I love yous and I appreciate you guys. And trust me, you're going to want to be around for the last story that I got coming, yeah? This last story, I'm going to tell you right now what it's about, yeah? There's a guy named Mobtana, or whatever he wants to be known as, yeah? Mobtana. He was telling a story of how he was the one that chopped Underworld Bill back in 2001 during the brawl. And obviously, I certified his story, and I told the story about Underworld Bill as well, and I explained the fact that he was a soldier for his people, same as Mobtana. He was a soldier for the islanders. Not once did I ever belittle Underworld Bill or Mobtana, yeah. But it seems to me that that Mobtana has been very, very cut about a lot of things that Underworld Bill said, and very, very cut at the fact that things have happened in the last month since he started getting on TikTok. All right. Now, I'm not going to get too much into it. All I'm going to say to you guys, if you want to hear this story, because it's something that none of you have ever heard, but if you guys want to check out this video that he put out last night, I'm pretty sure it was, yeah. And one of the guys that clips my stuff and everyone else's stuff sent me his video, and I was like, wait, is he talking about me? And he goes, yeah, bro, he's talking about you. And I said, what did I do to him? And he was like, I don't know, bro, but that's what he said last night. So I'm gonna reply to Mobtana at the end of this live, and that's what the story that I'm gonna be telling. But before I get to that big story, I'm gonna move on to the story that I told last week. So there was a story last week about the Elmadines, yeah, and it was Talal Elmadine and what's his name, the Aussie kid that abstayed him while they were in Supermax together, and I showed a video, and the video showed one angle, and then I was laughing at the fact that I've been to Supermax, you know, I've been involved in everything, and it was beyond me how the Goulburn Supermax could send only one footage that actually got Dylan Maloney off his charge. So pretty much he fought the charge. From what I read, he fought the charge based on him being heavily medicated, which is fair enough. A lot of boys in there go through a lot of mental health issues. But he also fought the charge based on there's only one angle of the camera which shows them both fighting. So it doesn't actually show who started the fight and who stabbed who first, yeah? So he could have based his defense on him being in the self-defense stance, yeah? Like maybe Talal attacked him first, and then he had to defend himself, and that's how Talal ended up with a hole in his neck, you know? So I'm not going to talk too much on the case. All I'm going to say is it's very, very funny how Supermax only gave these footage. And like I said to you guys, Supermax is the most inhumane prison in Australia, yeah? They not only treat inmates like rubbish, but they dictate how things go. They don't care what the commissioner of the prison sends them, yeah? They always go over the commissioner's head, and the commissioner doesn't even know. And when people try to reach out to the ombudsman, the official visitor, to try to fix things inside Supermax, the official visitors and the ombudsman don't even care. Like there's an amount of times that I've reached out to them to try to get some help up in Supermax, and they don't even give a F, you know, because why? They were too scared of Supermax hierarchies. Now, the reason why I'm bringing up this story is because I explained to you guys that there was a lady, yeah, and this lady, she wrote up the story, and pretty much the story was trying to make Talal look like he was scared for this footage to come out, because obviously the footage showed him on the back foot, yeah. But I was laughing because when I was there, mate, he did what needed to be done. You know, he was defending himself. And obviously they said that they also found a second sheep on there, and they believed that Talau had the other sheep. But Talau was the one with the hole in his neck. He was the one holding the blood in and trying to defend himself. That's what the footage showed. But it didn't actually show what happened at the beginning, which is something that I'm not going to talk about. Now, the funniest thing is I got information sent to me like I think about 3 or 4 days after that live, and I was like shocked. I was like, wait, what's going on here? Anyway, anyone that sends me information, I don't just go talking about it. I actually do my homework. I got a lot of people in the background that help me do my homework, and we researched what the information that was sent to me, and it was actually true, the information that was sent to me. So I was like a bit shocked, and I was like, wow. And this is why I highlight this every single time I go live to the younger generation and young adults. You know, when you dare to step foot into the gang world and do something for money, or do something to get love from the older boys or from your gang, just remember there's repercussions. You know, and repercussions, when they come flying at you in the gang world, there's no stopping the inevitable. You know, you are gonna get got one day. You know, you can be in your little safe haven, which is your little gang where everywhere you go together, or you can be inside prison in your little safe haven at your allocated prison. But as soon as you leave that allocated prison, or as soon as you leave your little circle and you're alone, trust me, these guys are gonna swarm on you. You know, and this is because you're the one who made the decision to get involved in this rubbish. Yeah, I'm just telling you guys real talk. I'm not here trying to scare you. I'm not here trying to tell you what to do. I'm just telling you what I've been through, and I'm explaining my story with the hope that you guys learn from it. All it is real talk. As simple as that. Yeah. Now, I told you guys how Dylan Maloney was young, and he was following orders that was given to him from someone else who was a rival of the Almadines, yeah? And for those of you who don't know Dylan Maloney, he was in a gang, and that gang ended up kicking him out because they were getting jumped everywhere they were going by the Almadines and their crew, and they didn't understand why. They found out later the reason why they were getting jumped is because Dylan Maloney was the one that abstayed, Talau Almadine, and obviously Talau Almadine is the brother of one of the biggest gangsters in Australia, which is Rafat Almadine. All right, so I don't know what was going through his head when he was thinking that he could get away with it, and I explained to you guys that as soon as that incident occurred, like not very long after, his whole house got shot up. You know, and this was something that actually hit the newspaper, but the Daily Telegraph didn't even realize. They released the story of Talau getting abstayed, and then when they released the story of the shooting at the house, they didn't even realize this was the revenge hit from what happened to Talau. So I actually read the story. It was like a little article that was in the newspaper about a shooting that happened at a house, and the funniest thing is the Daily Telegraph didn't even realize that was the revenge hit. You know, lucky for Dylan's family that whoever ordered that hit on that house, they made sure that none of his family members were going to be harmed. It was just their way of sending a message to Dylan as soon as he gets into a position where they can get him, that he knows he's gonna get got no matter where he goes. He's right now in his little safe haven in Supermax. When he gets out of Supermax, he's gonna be in his little safe haven in segregation. He's serving a long time, over 10 years, yeah. He just kept getting more and more time because of his antics inside prison, burning down his cell, attacking officers, contraband, sheaves, stabbings, like Dylan Maloney's, look, I can honestly say, for a white boy, he goes on with it. He doesn't take a backward step, but that's only because everything that he was doing inside prison was cheap shots, you know. So as soon as he had an opportunity, he'd hit. All right. Now I'm gonna explain to you guys a story. Yeah. Does everybody here know who Mobtana is? Mobtana is do you guys remember in the city, and there was a whole heap of people inside the city that held down a guy that was yelling out, Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar. And when they held him down, they put a crate over his head. I don't know if you guys all remember this kid. He was young, and they put a crate over his head, and everyone held him down, yeah? Anyway, this guy's name is Mobtana, yeah? He killed a prostitute, all right? And he, I'm not gonna say intentionally, but I'm gonna say this. From when he got found guilty, it was based on them saying he intentionally did it, because when he went there, he didn't have any sexual acts with this girl. He went there, she opened the door, and then he attacked her and went to town on her. Yeah, and then he ran out with his knife and he started yelling out, Allah Akbar, you know. And I apologize to any Muslim out there if I mispronounced it, but that's what he was yelling out. Jumped on a car, and then pretty much everyone that was there in the vicinity, all the community just gathered around and helped secure Mobtana, and then they put a crate over his head. And pretty much that's how everyone remembers this person, was because he was the only person in Australia that had a crate put over his head when everyone held him down, so the police could come and grab him. Anyway, the point of my story is this. Dylan Maloney, yeah, he is known for doing what he needs to do to reach the top. He doesn't care whether it's a two-faced move, whether it's a a cheap shot. He doesn't care. He will do what needs to be done to get to the top. And I was there throughout the whole thing. I didn't really talk to him. I think I spoke to him once or twice, yeah. And then I didn't talk to him again because I could tell he was just a kid brain, and he would just talk about random gang rubbish that I didn't want to hear about, you know. So he was just a young kid, and he was always trying to prove himself. He was always attacking officers, burning his cell, and yeah, his goal was the same goal as all those S2F and OC guys. His goal was to become an EHS. Extreme high security. That's what I was when I was inside prison. So his goal was to be EHS. He became EHS. His goal was to reach Supermax. He ended up in Supermax. And this is the same as that Masi Rook, and that was their goal. And they achieved it, you know what I mean? And I was actually someone that ended up in Supermax and on EHS before these guys. But I was the only person in there that was calling the ombudsman and the official visitor, trying to get off EHS and trying to get out of Supermax. Because I was like, I don't need this friggin' status, man. I want to go back into the main and enjoy, you know, my time with the boys. Because when you're in Supermax, you're secluded from everyone else. You don't get to hang out with the boys. You don't get to have cook-ups with the boys. You're stuck 24 hours a day in your cell. And the only time you get to mix with one other person is if the screws allow it. You know, you can't pick and choose what you do in there. You can only hope that they allow it. Now, with Mobtana and Dylan, this is the point of everything that I'm saying. I explained to you guys that Dylan always does what he has to do to reach the top. Now, Mobtana, he's just someone that is annoying, yeah? Like, he's got very, very bad mental health problems. And when I say bad, I'm saying like very, very bad mental health problems. And this was before he came to Supermax. And one of Dylan's closest friends called Mobtana and said, hey, I would like to mix with you. Now, Mobtana didn't think nothing of it. And he said, yeah. So he signed the paper, and Dylan's mate signed the paper, meaning so they can mix. 3 months later, the paperwork was approved and they were allowed to mix. Now, on their first meeting where they met, Dylan yelled out to Murtney and said, "Oh, come here." And then when he came over, he started talking to him, and so there's where the door is, in the yard, there's like a little gap that's got a lock on it, and the screws will put in the key and unlock it, then pull the handle, and then they can open the gate. So usually when the boys talk, they will talk under that little gap, yeah? So when Murtney got called over by Dylan, he came over and he put his head in that gap, and he had to crouch down and talk to Dylan. And he was like, "Yeah, bro, what's going on?" And Dylan, this is how much of a two-faced person he is. Like, remember, I don't have anything against Dylan. I'm just explaining this story because it's the truth, real talk. Dylan is very, like, as much as he's a kid brain, he's very, what do you call it? How do I put it? Manipulating, yeah? He actually built a friendship with Murtney by using the Muslim religion, yeah? Salam alaikum, alaikum salam, what are you doing, Aki? Love you, Aki. I appreciate you, brother. This is what he does, yeah? On a daily basis, he was doing this. And he used to do the same thing to Talal al-Madin. And he was doing this so he could swindle his moves, yeah? Now, when he called over Murtney, obviously Murtney trusts him, so Murtney bent down, started talking to him, and Dylan was talking, "Oh, show me the side of your face." Poor Murtney turned his face, and then what do you know what happened? Dylan's mate come running over from the side and just started going to town on Murtney, in his head, in his face, in his neck, like, and they planned this, yeah? But guess what? Both Dylan and his mate were Muslim, but they were Aussie boys who became reverts, yeah? And they both used the Muslim religion in order to get Murtney. And this is why I used to get frustrated at a lot of the Muslim boys inside prisons, because in their words, no one can judge another except Allah, yeah? So it didn't matter if someone was a junkie. It didn't matter if someone would talk rubbish about the religion. As soon as they were willing to give their life to Allah, the Muslim boys used to just forgive them for anything that they did wrong and then bring them on board, yeah? But they didn't realize, like, yeah, all right, bring them on board because it's about religion, but they didn't realize there's also guys who are doing this because they want to eat food, they were just using you for your religion because they wanted to eat. A lot of Kuri boys used to do this, use the Muslim religion, and they used to get food from the Muslim boys because they would look after their own. This is what I loved about the Muslim boys. They would always look after their own. But then there was guys who were doing two-faced moves like Dylan, became a Muslim, and then what did he do? The worst thing that you could do to a Muslim inside prison, which was attack another Muslim. Every time I used to hear the Friday prayers, this was one thing that whoever was leading the prayers used to always talk about. And what they always used to talk about was the Muslim brothers turning on other Muslim brothers. These guys, to get Murtney, they played the religious card, and as soon as Murtney was in a position where they could get him, boom, they attacked him. And obviously, they got charged and whatnot, but they don't care. They're doing a long time, so they really don't care about all this stuff. There's someone here who's saying, "Bro, it's not right talking about this." What do you mean it's not right talking about this? These charges are already done and dusted. Like this is already finished. These people who get on here and say, "Oh, you shouldn't be talking about this," shut your mouth. Right? You don't know nothing about gang life, shut your mouth. You're just talking out of your ass when you're watching movies. But this stuff that I explain is how the younger generation can learn, yeah? Because the younger generation are not going to learn from psychologists, welfare, juvie. They're only going to learn from people who have experienced these types of things. Now, I have experienced a lot of these things, especially all this two-faced shit that I'm telling you about right now. So I don't give a damn about anyone that gets on my comments and says, "Bro, you're a snitch. Bro, you shouldn't be talking about this. You've been a gangster for how many years, and all of a sudden you're freaking talking about this." I'm talking about this rubbish because no one can get charged for it. I'm talking about this rubbish because it's already been dealt with. I'm talking about this rubbish so all the younger generation can know that people like you are the biggest two-faced people. They come under your wing because they think you're a brother, and then it's people like you who's talking shit that use these younger generation, and then these younger generation end up in prison, and you're sitting out here eating your Sunday dessert, kicking back and oh, bro, I love that younger guy, bro. He was a sick, eh? You're eating your ice cream out here. Well, guess what? Well, he's sitting inside prison doing 5 years for something that you ordered him to do. So get over yourself and stop talking rubbish. And how about you do something for these younger generation instead of using them? All right. Dylan, when him and his mate swindled this move on Mobtana learned the hard way, because he used to be a smart ass through the gate a lot. Yeah. I think one of the funniest things that I ever heard Mobtana say, like, I don't actually talk to Mobtana. Yeah. I don't condone what he did, even though the girl was a prostitute or a working girl. I don't condone what he did, and when that happened to him, it was my way of explaining to him, bro. See what you done to that girl? It's come back to you 10 times worse. Like, yeah, you didn't die, but look at your face now. You're all effed up in the face. You know what I mean? And Mobtana, like, he's got so much mental health problems that he was like, yeah, I know, Pete. This is what he used to talk. That's how he used to talk to me. And he would just touch his face where he got stabbed and his neck. And then he used to be like, oh, I don't know what I was thinking that day when I did that to that girl. It's just, I just had, I think they call it, it's something that they call in Muslim, like the devil. Shaitan or something like that. He should say to me like, oh, that's what I had in my head that day when he attacked that girl who was a prostitute. Because what not many people realize is he actually didn't sleep with the girl. He walked in there and he attacked her straight away. Shaitan. Yeah, appreciate it, Aki. Thank you very much, my brother. And now to put this all into a ball to explain it to you guys is, see these guys who are becoming reverts, to all you Muslim brothers out there, all I'm going to say is, like, I understand, we all want people to become religious and to change their lives, but you have to be careful of the ones that are trying to swindle moves against you and your family, or you and your religion, because that's what these guys did. They played Mobtana and they got him. They played the brother Talal El-Madin, and then he got as well, But when they did that to Talal, they didn't realize they were effing with the real. What the hell? Nicola! Oh, shucks! I wasn't expecting any of that. I love you and I appreciate you. Thank you very much, my man. So yeah, I honestly am just saying this from my heart, yeah, because they didn't realize that Talal, even though he was religious, all the people that he's connected to, especially his older brother, are heavy gangsters. His brother's the most wanted person in Australia right now. And this is what shot up. I received a message, and the message was that the house that Dylan Maloney family was staying in. When the article came out from this dumb lady who wrote up this thing, yeah, this is what these news people don't understand. People that write up these stories, yeah, they don't understand. When you're doing this stuff, you're the one that's creating all the friggin' wars on the streets, because you're the one that's belittling these gangsters, and then these gangsters feel the need to get revenge against each other to be able to make sure, shucks, sorry guys, let me just get this puzzle done. I didn't even realize it's been an hour. All right, appreciate you guys. These gangsters, like, the most important thing when you're a gangster is your reputation. So when these newspapers are going out of their way to tell stories that belittle these gangsters are going to go to war to make sure that their name is on top. So it's not even about all these gang-related urdames and stuff that's happening on the street. Even these postcode gangs, yeah? It's not even about them having an incident where one kid got hurt and ended up dead. No, it's the fact that when these guys tell their stories, they're belittling one or the other crew. And then that crew feel the need to go and get revenge so their name can be on top in the media. That's what these freaking idiots don't understand, all right? So as soon as this story came out about Talal El-Madin having a hole in his neck and he's holding it, all of a sudden, Dylan Maloney's house gets shot up. And then the story that got released last week, I think it was last week or the week before, with this lady, where she was trying to belittle Talal by saying that he was scared of this footage to come out. Like, pretty much that's how she, along those lines, she was wording it, yeah? And then I got a message, and what happened was the house that Dylan Maloney's family used to stay at ended up exploding into fire like a week or two ago. All right, and this is all because of you news people. You know, the Daily Telegraph. You know, the Sun Herald. You know, those of you who are on the news, you are the ones creating all this freaking drama on the street. You media people, 100% right, whoever just wrote that there. Yous are the ones that are hyping up these gangs to go to war with each other. You know, if you learn how to just keep your mouth shut and tell a story, you know, like from facts, then all right, you know, it's something that a lot of gangs would be able to look past. But you're not telling facts. You're belittling them. And like, I remember there was something that happened a while back. One of the newspapers, I think it was the Daily Telegraph, they put up a newspaper photo of Bill Houcher, yeah? And it was Bill Houcher, and he was standing like this holding 2 machine guns. And then when I saw it, I thought, yeah, everyone in the Middle East, they have these guns, and you know, it's a lot of them take photos with it, especially the tourists when they go there, they like to take guns and take photos with it. But then the Daily Telegraph, they wrote under the bottom of it, Bill Houcher saw a photo of himself in one of our articles last week, and he sent us this photo and told us to make sure use this photo next time. This is what I'm saying. They went out of their way to belittle Bill Houcher, yeah? And then people started like laughing at the fact that this is what the Daily Telegraph had said. And then all of a sudden, people who were laughing at Bill Houcher's expense started getting abstayed in prison and started getting shot outside in the leg. And it was because of the Daily Telegraph. This is what nobody ever talks about. And I'm here explaining this because these newspaper people, they're just doing their job, making their money, thinking, yeah, it's all good to tell these stories, it's all good to belittle these gangsters. Yet they are the ones who are freaking causing all this freaking havoc on the streets. Now, before I move on to freaking things that I know that actually happened 8 years ago, I'm gonna again reach out to you guys and say, please, I need you guys to double tap, pump these likes up. I need you guys to heart me. Yes, I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you very much. I reached it? Yeah, the Team Triggz. Yeah, the Team Triggz. My wife just explained to me that I've reached my heart me goal, which was 50 heart me's. I love you. I appreciate you guys. Thank you very much. This is honestly gonna boost my live so it reaches what's called more of the world. And also these likes, wow, 238,000 likes already. I love you and I appreciate you guys. Now, let's move on to contracts. Now, for those of you who don't know what contracts are, it means I'm talking about Underworld contracts where contracts are given out so guys can get hit, yeah? Yo, Nuclear. I love you and I appreciate you. Thank you very much, Nuclear, my man. To everyone that's been sending through gifts, I appreciate you. And to everyone that's tapping up the likes and everyone that sent me the love, the heart me's, I appreciate you guys. Now let's get to contracts, yeah? I'm gonna just say this plainly. This is something that the police already know, so I don't give a damn. This is also something that these people already know about, so I don't give a damn. The only thing that you guys don't realize is you guys are the only ones that don't know about this because it's never come out. But I'm gonna say it because it's something that that the younger generation and young adults need to learn from. Remember, when you guys are coming up, there's a lot of things that you want to do. Maybe you want to work for the Daily Telegraph. Maybe you want to work for the news. You know, maybe you want to work for a construction site. Whatever it is you want to do, all I'm going to say is, whether it's legit or not, you have to be careful the way you carry yourself and the way you speak. There's something that got told to me a long time ago from a Muslim guy at Lithgow prison, and he was telling me about holding your tongue hostage. And I was like, holding your tongue hostage? And he was like, yeah. This brother was named Mick Howie. He was explaining to me, Uzo, you know, he goes, if one doesn't learn to hold their tongue hostage, he goes, they don't realize that whatever they blurt out, they can never take it back. You know, it's out there for the world to know. You know, and it was something that I realized at the time was causing a lot of the dramas outside and inside prison. You know, a lot of people talking out of school. Now, this is the reason why when I go live, I actually go hard on explaining things so the younger generation can understand it, so they can keep themselves safe. Because as I always say, awareness is safety. And that's what I'm doing. I'm making you guys aware. Not only you guys, but also your parents who never knew that this was what you were going through, who never knew this is the reason why you go through this type of stuff. You know, all the mental health problems that you've put up with. They don't realize, you know, whether you grow up when you grow up in a broken home, you end up with bad mental health. When you grow up getting hidings, you end up with bad mental health problems, you know. And a lot of these parents that have been reaching out thanking me, it's because they didn't understand what their kids were going through. And a lot of these kids who reached out thanking me, they didn't realize what their parents were going through, and how much hard work they put into bringing them from the islands to Australia, bringing them from the Middle East to Australia to have a better life. And how do we repay them? By turning into a criminal. This is what I did, and this is what many younger kids have done, and this is why I get on this platform and I tell it how it is, because I want these younger generations to understand it. You're aware now, so now you're going to be safe. If you end up going the opposite way of what I'm saying, then it is what it is with Triggz. All right. So these contracts that I'm going to be talking about, I've seen it, I think about 8 years ago. All right, 2017. Now, obviously, I was going to a lot of gang meetings, and there was a lot of things that was being brought up that had nothing to do with me. One of these things was like a commission. It was like all different gangs where they would gather, and then they would offer up money for things that needed to be done. Now, I had nothing to do with that. I actually just happened to be there because my mate took me, because he said to me, look, I'll give you 10 grand. I just need you to watch my back. I'll go, watch your back for what? He goes, I'm going to this meeting. And he goes, and I just don't want to be by myself, you know? I'm like, all right, whatever. So me and my brother and two of the other boys, went with him, 4 of us. And this meeting was like a meeting of like probably about 8 different gangs, yeah? And pretty much they were just passing around dramas that needed to be fixed, you know? And I thought, oh, you know what, this is pretty cool. Like, it's like New Zealand. When they have gang issues in New Zealand, the gangs would call a big function where they would catch up, and then they will sort it out in that way, you know, whether their best fighter goes against their best fighter. Look, this is the way that I saw it when I was growing up in New Zealand, you know, and now it's happening in Australia, where they were meeting up and trying to sort it in-house. And during this meeting, I didn't realize, well, until I was standing there, that work started getting thrown around. And when I say work, I mean like there was jobs that were handed out on jewelry heists. There was jobs that were handed out on what's it called? Woo, love it, appreciate you. On what do they call them? What the hell is it called? Those money trucks. Forget what they're called. The trucks that take the money around. What the hell? Anyone tell me what the trucks is called? Armor guards. All right. Thank you. I love you and I appreciate you guys. So there was jobs going around for armor guards, and I didn't realize this was actual jobs. Love you. I appreciate you. I didn't actually realize that this was proper jobs that was already organized, and it was being thrown around who wanted to take these jobs on. And it wasn't until I thought to myself, you know what, I'm going to get off my phone and I'm going to listen carefully to what they're talking about. And then I realized they were networking with each other. And I was like, oh, wow, this is like America, you know, like freaking hell. Like, Will Hub, my man, still love you, appreciate you, Will Hub. Thank you very much, my man. And they were still carrying on with all these different types of jobs and things that was being handed out. But what spun me out the most is when contracts came out, yeah? And this is something that the police already know about. And also these people that had the contracts put in their head, they're also in the know of this because the police made them aware of this. But it's never been out into the limelight until now. All right. So back then, 2017. I love you. I appreciate you, my man. Thank you very much. Oh shit. There was a contract on Mark Murray. So Mark Murray works for the Daily Telegraph, and there was also a contract on Brendan Hill, $300,000 on both their heads. Yeah. I remember the Brendan Hill contract didn't come to light until after I was in prison. So it was a couple of years after. And the reason why these contracts came about was because something about what Mark Murray had written about two gangs, and something about what Brendan Hill had written about gangs. So they had $300,000 popped on their head. And I remember the contract that was on Brendan Hill. It said they didn't want him unlived. They just wanted it in the legs, so he understood not to talk rubbish about gangs. And I remember singing, and I said to my man, I go, who's Brendan Hill? And then he was saying to me, Uzo, that's someone that works for the newspapers. And I was like, oh, really? Okay, what the hell? It's not a gang member? He goes, nah, because someone works for the newspapers. And then the same thing with Mark Murray, the boy started explaining it to me. And I was like, whoa, I didn't realize Australian gangs had gone to these depths, you know, like willing to go out of the gang route to make a point. And obviously the gang route is like where you just freaking get the gang affiliated people, but now out of that circle you're now attacking people that's making trouble for you and making your gang name go down the toilet. For example, these guys time and time again, they used to belittle BFL, you know, and from what I got told is these guys security watch them time and time again, you know, like wherever they go when they're coming in and out of work. I don't know if this is true or not. This is just what I've been told. Now those two contracts, $300,000 each, that was on both of them, was passed around that day. Now other contracts that were on lawyers, where's Will Hub still? Will Hub, bro, I love you, bro. Far out. I appreciate you, my man, Will Hub. The other contracts were on lawyers. Now, obviously, you guys saw the lawyer. He got attacked pretty badly. I think it was this year, around about the beginning of the year. And then there was another lawyer that also got shot. So this is nothing compared to the lawyers who have left their job due to hearing that contracts were on their head. Yeah, and I honestly didn't know why lawyers were having contracts on their head, but then I found out later that these lawyers were swindling moves in order to take as much money as they can off families, and then they realized that these families were actually real gangsters, you know. And not only that, a lot of lawyers had made a lot of promises to real underworld figures saying that they were going to go home, and they ended up not going home, and that's how they ended up with a contract on their head, you know. Like for example, myself, I was told by my barrister that if I pleaded guilty to my charges that I would go home. And when I got sentenced, I ended up getting 7 years, and I was like, hang on a sec, I just finished doing 3 years, and you're telling me I have to serve another 4 years after you freaking told me that I was gonna go home if I plead guilty. I didn't even want to plead guilty, yeah? And I keep telling you, I go, mate, there's no evidence whatsoever that I was selling drugs. There's clear evidence saying that I was making a deal with the police in order to get a good result for my brother and the boys. And I go, why would I plead guilty to that rubbish? And he goes, oh, look, they've dropped the charges down to lower charges, and trust me, you know, I know the Commonwealth laws inside out, and I'm really good with this judge, and if you plead guilty today, you're gonna get time served because you've never in your life ever been involved in guns, drugs, or money. He goes, trust me, Pete, you're gonna go home. All right, I listened to my barrister. I go and freaking plead guilty. Next minute, I'm freaking got 7 years. I turned around at my lawyer. I started going off at my lawyer, and my barrister didn't even turn up to apologize for what he said, you know. Then they try to make all these bullcrap excuses. And you wonder why these real underworld figures end up putting freaking contracts on these freaking lawyers because of their lies, you know. This is exactly how it works. And that's why I'm trying to start up a company where I'm the middleman between the people that are going to court and the lawyer. Look, I'm not going to talk too much about it. I'm doing my best to try to bring this business to light, but I really feel like I'm someone that can help a lot of people that are going through court cases, because I've been through so much rubbish in my life that I know the court system inside out. You know, I may not know the law inside out, but I'm telling you something, I know when a lawyer is lying, because majority of the time, lawyers are always trying to get you to plead guilty to small charges, because the faster you plead guilty, the faster they get paid. That's the reason they don't want to go to court and friggin' argue some little charge, and they tell you, come on, just plead guilty, it's only a small charge anyway. And all of you who are watching me now, I know you're all sitting there thinking, what the hell, that's what that freaking lawyer did to me. But it's Woo-Hub still going, Woo-Hub, I love you and I appreciate you, my man. Thank you very much. What the hell? That's a lot of love, brother. That's a lot of love. I appreciate you, my man. Now, those are the 2 contracts that have come up. The third contract that I'm going to be talking about is contracts on screws. Now, I'm going to tell these 3 names because these are the 3 names that I actually saw with my own eyes. There is actually one other contract that I also saw, and when I had a run-in with this screw at Long Bay Prison, I actually said it to his face. I told him, if it wasn't for me, you piece of shit, you'd be a goner. You know, I didn't say that. I actually said the words, but I'm not gonna say it on TikTok. And he was going, what are you talking about? Okay, what do you mean what I'm talking about? Okay, you think you can bridge up to that Underworld figure at Goldman Supermax and get away with it? Okay, you made that bloke's life a living hell. And I said, and when I was outside, he put 500K on your head, you freaking dog. And I was the one who spoke to those younger boys who were going to take up the contract. And I said to them, bro, why are you getting involved in this? You know, I'm the one who talked them out of it because I didn't want them going to prison for the rest of their lives, you know, if they got caught for it. But these youngsters actually had this screw's whole address and what time he finishes work. You know, like they had inside information that I don't even know how they got, but they had it. You know, and I talked them out of doing it. So when I had a run-in with this screw at Long Bay Prison, I full put it on him and I said all this to his face, and he was like, when was this gonna happen? When was it? And I go, yeah, that's what I thought. And then when I said the name of his area, of where his address is at, he was like completely shocked and he kept his mouth shut and he walked away. And I wasn't actually bridging up to him saying to him that I was gonna do anything. I was just bridging up to him saying, I was the one who saved you from getting got, you dog. You know, anyway, I'm not going to talk about that fool, but the names that got brought up during the that same meeting that I'm talking about back in 2017, one of the main names was a commissioner, Ron Woodham. And this wouldn't be a surprise to anyone that's been through the jail system. Ron Woodham was the biggest dog commissioner that ever come through the jail system. He not only ruined the prison system, he was the one that put all these statuses on inmates. He was the one that created this level system in Supermax, and that's the reason why a lot of boys ended up with bad mental health problems. So a lot of reasons why a lot of boys in Supermax were committing you know, I'm not going to speak about it, but they were committing a lot of that inside Supermax. And if you guys see the actual stats on the inmates inside Supermax, and not only Supermax, but also in prison that commit that type of stuff, mate, it's something out of this world. Like, these guys have bad mental health because of what that Ron Woodham dog did to them, to the jail system. To the jail system when he was running. To the jail system when he was running it, he didn't give a damn. He used to send messages to all the hierarchies in every prison, and his messages were like plain, whether they're bringing in contraband. Woodham was the one who would allow them to get away with these corrupt acts, you know. And thank God that dog like ended up leaving that role. And when he left that role, everything became better and better. Will-Hub, my man, I love you. I appreciate you, my man. Far out, bro. And so Ron Woodham, he had $500,000 on his head, One of the worst people that I ever met as a screw inside prison, he had 200,000 on his head. And this guy, I'm telling you, was the biggest scum, the most corrupt screw inside the system. Yeah, he was from Goulburn prison. His name was Mr. Montgomery. Now, this Mr. Montgomery, bro, I'm telling you, the amount of inmates that he used to get the squad to jump, the amount of times that he used to plant drugs or plant shivs on inmates so they could get charged, mate, I'm telling you, it's beyond words. This guy was so corrupt. He was the biggest mutt inside prison. He even did something to me when I was inside prison where I copped heaps of charges. Yeah, is all I did was mouth off at a female officer, and this guy, he like planted all these charges on me. So by the time I was going up for parole, I didn't even realize I was charged with all this stuff, like damaged property, offensive language, intimidation, assault, like all these charges that was put on me. I didn't even realize I had these charges until I went to go face parole, and they knocked me back. And I was like, you've had over 30 charges. And I was like, what 30 charges? I've only had like 5 charges. And like, nah, you got all these charges. And then it wasn't until I got the paperwork and I looked at it and I realized the dates was from the day that I had the argument with that lady, and Montgomery was going to me, you do not F with my officers. I said, go F yourself. I go, ask this dog, this female officer. I said, ask her what happened. I was trying to stick up for her, and then she was trying to butt in to a drama that was happening, and she was making it worse. So I told her to keep her mouth shut and leave it, because you're G'ing the boys up to fight more. Anyway, this friggin' dog, Montgomery, he had $200,000 on his head, and it was because he had pissed off the wrong Underworld figures, you know, like that money back then, I didn't even have nowhere near that money, let alone friggin' $5,000. But everyone that was getting these contracts, they were all more than happy to take these contracts. But I remember them talking about saying they need more information. Had nothing to do with me. I was getting 10K just to protect someone, so I was all good. I was like, hey, this has nothing to do with me. I'm getting my 10K. I'm happy. See you later. You know. The other contract, I didn't really understand that, but like I do get it. It was on a screw named Mr. O'Shea from Lithgow prison. He was a very corrupt screw. And he set up a lot of inmates, not only to get bashed, but also set them up with drugs and whatnot, same as that Montgomery. And this fucking O'Shea, he got charged for it. And it was a fellow officer that snitched him in for his corrupt acts. He's going through court right now. Him and another dog named Mr. McNair. I forget his name. I forget his name, but he was intel at Lithgow at the same time as that flop, you know. And this screw, he had $300,000 on his head. But I do remember there was an incident that happened between him and Emad Sleeman. Emad Sleeman is like one of the trumps for the Lebanese boys when I was around here. And I remember he walked into Emad Sleeman's cell and he went to shake Emad's hand, and Emad goes, bro, I don't want to shake your hand. What are you trying to shake my hand for? And he said to Emad Sleeman, he goes, look, we played cat and mouse for the last couple of years. I couldn't catch you. You got away with everything you did. He goes, I just want to make sure that when you leave this prison and you go home, I'm never going to get stabbed in my back while I'm walking through the street with my kids, you know? And Emad Sleeman looked at him, and I remember because I was next door, and all I heard was Emad was like, nah, man. He goes, look, you did what you did, I did what I did, and you never caught me because I wasn't doing anything wrong, mate. That's the reason why you never caught me. And then they parted ways from there. But it was just friggin' funny how he realized the amount of times he always tried to swindle moves on the Muslim boys to get them charged. So he made sure that he went to the Trump at the time at Lithgow prison, which was Emad Sleeman, and tried to seek forgiveness before Emad Sleeman went home, because Emad was about to go home. Anyway, boom. Woo up, my man. I love you and I appreciate you. Thank you very much. All right, guys. Now, here's the story that that everyone's been waiting for. This is the final story of the night. This is about Mr. Mobtana. All right. Before I hit this story, again, guys, please, I need you guys to tap it up, help these likes get up there so the algorithm can catch it and push my message across the world, not only here in Australia, but I want it to reach the ends of the earth's Will Hub, and everyone that's been sending through gifts. I love you and I appreciate you guys. Everyone that's been tapping up the likes as well, I love and appreciate you guys. And everyone that's been viewing these stories that I've been telling, please, I ask you guys to share these stories so that the younger generation may be able to learn from it. And for those of you who are clipping, please tag me whenever you clip or screen record any of the stuff that I'm doing. And I know that you guys have been doing that job. And without you clippers, none of my stories would have reached anywhere. So I appreciate you guys as well. Now, let's get to the story about Mobtana and Underworld Bill. All right, so obviously a lot of you guys know about this situation that's been happening with Underworld Bill and Big Cash, and this all came about after his run-in with Mobtana. So what happened was I told a story, and the story that I told was about a brawl that happened back in 2002 in Pod 9 Silverwater Prison. And when I told this story, I was explaining to the younger generation what I went through when I walked into prison at 18 years old. It was real prison back then, the politics back then was 10 times worse than what it was today. Back then, there was no such thing as iPads. There was no such thing as calling your family at 10 o'clock at night to say goodnight and to say goodbye to your kids. That's all the stuff that you can do now. Back then, hit 2:30 p.m., go to sleep, wake up the next morning till 8:30. Come out 8:30, breakfast, lunch, dinner, back in your cell at 2:30 p.m. That was life in jail back then, you know what I mean? So I really wanted to highlight that to the younger generation. That's the reason why I told this story about the brawl that happened between the older boys. And when I told this story, a lot of people were belittling Underworld Bill because he used to do these certain acts when he would tell his stories, and a lot of people used to mock him about it. When I realized he was the person that was involved in that brawl back then, I came out and I had to tell the story. Mate, the guy, he went frontline soldier for his people, the Lebanese people. He put his life on the line, and that's the reason why I said it. He was about it, and because I was there when it happened, and it's the same thing about Mobtana. I explained that he was a frontline soldier for the Islanders. Not once did I belittle Mobtana, not once did I belittle Underworld Bill. I just told the story how I seen it from my eyes, my real talk. Obviously Underworld Bill came out and he started saying that look, what the story that Triggz wrote. It's the story that Triggz said. It did happen, but we didn't get demolished, because that was the words I used. And the reason why I used those words was because when the Islanders were attacking, there were so many other Lebanese boys that could have come over and helped him. Nicola, I love you, I appreciate you. And Wuha, my man, I love you, my bro. Fire out, brother. It's been half an hour, you still got, I love you, bro. I appreciate you, my man. The reason why I explained this story was because when the situation broke out and I said the word demolish, there were so many Lebanese boys that could have come to Underworld Bill's aid, but they didn't. They were standing there because they were in shock or they were in fear, whatever it was. There was also Islanders that I saw who were standing there and they were in fear as well, and appreciate you. And so I wasn't trying to belittle the Lebanese boys or the Islander boys. I just told it how it was, my facts, what I saw with my own eyes, And I even said one of the Islanders who didn't jump in and get involved, he got chopped as soon as he got to Park Lee. You know what I mean? So obviously, when I'm telling these stories, it's the story that I'm telling from my eyes and what I saw, and then someone in New Zealand had seen my story and they had sent it to Mobtana, yeah, and the story that Mobtana got was not only mine, but he also got Underworld Bill's reply where he said, "Oh look, the story Triggz told, yeah, that did happen, but we didn't get demolished, and this is the reason why we didn't get demolished." And then Underworld Bill wasn't expecting it, but Mobtana come out of the woodworks, ended up on TikTok, and then he started explaining, "Mate, we chopped you. Of course you got demolished. You got axed." You know, like this is Mobtana telling his side of the story. So then everyone was like, "Oh wow." So the story Triggz told was actually a real story, but now it was between Underworld Bill and Mobtana, who was telling both their sides of the story and what everyone wanted to believe. You know what I mean? So when I told what I told, it's because I was watching the whole thing. You know what I mean? Like Underworld Bill said it from his perspective, but he was in the middle of fighting, so he didn't see all the other Lebanese boys that were standing around not getting involved. Same as Mobtana. When he went and attacked and the Lebanese boys were trying to jump him, he didn't see the other Islander boys that jumped in. When he explained his story, he said that only 3 of Islanders were involved in this brawl and they took on all the Lebanese boys. First of all, there was that many Lebanese boys there that they would have axed 3 Islanders, all right? That never would have happened. And the reason why it didn't happen like that is because there was more than 3 Islanders, and that's what I was looking at, you know. And by the end of the brawl, there was Islanders who were bridging up. The ones that were getting pulled into their cells by the screws, they were bridging up because obviously they deemed themselves the winner of the brawl that occurred. All right. Now, Mobtana, when he come out and started and belittling Underworld Bill came back on live and he explained, this is one of my worst enemies. I always wanted to bump into him so I could get my revenge. Mobtana was belittling Underworld Bill, and it was just a back and forth thing between them two, and I stayed out of it, obviously, because I had nothing to do with it. Until Mobtana decided to get online and belittle me when I had never said anything about him. He started saying, "Oh, I don't remember looking after no young guy back then. I don't remember talking to anyone in the cell back then that was not a part of our team." And then I was thinking, bro, you just come out with all your stupid talk and you didn't even watch my live. Like, not once did I ever say a screw brought me over to you so you could look after me. I said the screw brought me over to Pod 9 so I could be with the older boys. And then this guy went and twisted my words and said that I got brought to him. No one even said, I didn't even said that in my life. And then he said that that him and the Islander boys got brought into my cell so we could have this meeting about what was going to happen the next day. And I was like, but I didn't even freaking say that. I said the Samoan guy who was involved in the brawl, which you said he was never involved, no one was involved, only 3 Islanders were. Yeah, right, 3 Islanders versus a whole heap of Lebanese boys, but they ended up jumping on all 3 of your heads. There was other Islanders involved, and that's why you got out of it the way you got out of it, because other Islander boys were ready to go as well. And what I explained was I got dragged from this Samoan guy over to where you were talking about it, and you guys were talking about it, and the Samoan guy gave me the heads up on what was going to happen the next day. That's how I knew what was going to happen. I never even said that he was coming to my cell. So this is all the rubbish that Mobtana was getting into his head. I don't know if the guy's taking too much alcohol or whatnot, but he's gone on his live and he said all this rubbish. And then that's when I was like, wow, like, this guy didn't even realize I didn't even say anything about him. You know, I never belittled his name. You know, there was never any ill intent. I was just highlighting this story for the younger generations to understand that this is what prison's about. Yeah, and then Underworld Bills tried to defend his honor by saying that they never got demolished. He come out and said what he said, and then it was between them two. Now, fast forward a month and a half where Mobtana has disappeared from TikTok. He's come out yesterday with a video, and this video said something along the lines of who does this was this script reading, news fool thinkies, like, and I was like, wait, when I got the video, I was like, is he talking about me? You know, and he was calling me red or something, yeah. And then the person that clipped the video, he said to me, yeah, bro, he's talking about you. I go, wait a second, what did I do? I didn't. Is this guy really belittling me when I didn't do anything wrong? I didn't even say anything bad about him. And he was like, yeah, like this is what he was saying about you yesterday. And I was like, wow. I was like, far out. I go, I'm here just to try and teach the younger generation, and now all of a sudden I'm getting belittled from overseas, and he's sort of like throwing his threats towards my way, you know. And this is the thing. I didn't want to bring this up, but since he wants to get online and rubbish me for no reason whatsoever, I'm gonna tell you guys a little story. All right. So you know when Mobtana got on there and then he started saying those things about me, I didn't think nothing of it. I didn't really care, because to me he's just one of the old school boys, and he actually didn't know me and I actually didn't know him, but we did meet once upon a time back in 2002. And I said it to him straight like this on my live, and I said it to him, Mobtana, okay, this is what happened, and you probably don't remember it because I was young, but this is what you were doing. So I explained to him what he used to do on a daily basis, how he used to train, walk around the yard and throw his punches like this. And this was my way of saying it to him on social media, like, bro, I know this story inside out. I don't need you telling me a story when you were getting jumped by the Lebanese boys, and you think you can tell me about my facts. Like, mate, I was standing there watching. I wasn't fighting. I was watching the whole thing like this. Mate, why are you trying to tell me what my facts are? You know. Anyway, now that he's gone down this route, and I was like, bro, I never wanted to bring this up in the first place, but since you want to go down this way, I'm gonna tell it how it is. So after he did that, yeah, he put up a video where he was bridging up to Underworld Bill, all right? And when he bridged up to Underworld Bill, he bridged up to everyone else that had a problem with it. And he said, here's my address. And he said his address online. And he goes, if you got a problem with it, come to my address. All right? Now remember, guys, I live the gang life, all right? I've been there and I've done it. So obviously it doesn't matter whether I changed my life or not, or whether I'm on the path of change or not. I still have a lot of people in the underworld that have big love for me, and they will support me no matter what, even though I don't talk to them, yeah? Now, what I didn't realize was when this Mobtana had said something about me, a lot of boys from New Zealand got angry. You know, they felt like he was disrespecting me, but they never told me, like, they never messaged me. I never got any messages from anyone about that they were upset and all that. They just took it upon themselves to pull up Mobtana. You know, so I got a message a month after this whole situation had occurred. Oh, appreciate you. And the message that I got was boys in New Zealand who I've been very close with since 2001. They live there now in New Zealand, yeah? They went to this address and they went there, not to do anything stupid, but they went there to tell Mobtana, bro, don't disrespect the brother. He was just trying to tell a story for the younger generation. He was never trying to belittle you or Underworld Bill. So from what they told me when they sent me the messages, we were only going to that address to tell him, like, bro, don't belittle you. And I was like, oh, you didn't need to do that. Like, it's all good, so, you know, it's freaking TikTok. And obviously he's trying to get a name by going off at Underworld Bill and then trying to belittle my facts, you know? And the boys are like, nah, Lukuzo, it doesn't matter if you're on the path of change. At the end of the day, you did a lot for us, so we're not going to let anyone belittle your name. And there's nothing I can say. These boys live in New Zealand, all right? And this is the thing that nobody knows, yeah? When these boys went to that address to tell Mobtana to his face, like, bro, please, you know, don't belittle the brother in Australia, they went over there and guess what? The address was fake, yeah? He gave us address to Underworld Bill and all his haters, and it was an address where it was in the middle of nowhere, and no one lived there. All right. Now, I didn't want to bring this up, but since he wants to go on this rampage, like on me for no reason, I'm gonna tell it how it is. These boys went to your address, bro. That address that you put up, and you already know that you gave a fake address to Underworld Bill, and you gave a fake address to everyone that you were bridging up to. What did you say? Anyone who's got a problem with what I'm saying, come to this address, and you gave that address. And what happened? That address was fake. You didn't even give your address. So this shows, that you're just an old fool sitting around, trying to relive your war stories. Yeah? Yes, you were a frontline soldier for the Islanders. Yes, you did do a lot for the Islander boys. But why are you sitting there still trying to play gangster? How about, you jump on board with what I'm doing, trying to help the younger generation, and help me push the story, because both you and I have been through it, yeah? But the difference between you and I is that I actually succeeded in everything that I put my mind to when it came to gang-related shit, all right? You didn't succeed in nothing. Yeah, you chopped a few people and then you ended up in New Zealand like a bum, all right? Me, I went to 16 countries in 9 months as soon as I finished 10 years in prison, and you got the nerve to compare yourself to me, eh? Even when people got online, when I first came on TikTok, they were trying to compare me to another guy in New Zealand, apparently, like we look like, yeah? This guy, I don't know if he's ever been out of New Zealand or not. He's actually a very funny guy. I like watching his content. But people that were trying to belittle me, they were using this guy as a tool to try to get me and him to argue. But they didn't get through because I wouldn't react to them rubbishing me and trying to make me and this guy go at it, yeah? I just kept my composure, and I just said, I like the guy's content. But in my head, I was like, I've been around the world. I've done so many things that you've never even seen on the movies that it's not funny, and you want to come around here and try to compare me to these people? I was never at one stage, like I have never ever tried to belittle you, Montana, or anyone else. I've always just tried to stay in my lane and teach the younger generation and the young adults. That's it. But since you want to get on your platform and try to make a name, this is the first and this is the last time I'm ever going to talk about this, yeah? I'm never going to bring this guy's name up again. Like I said to you guys, he did do a lot for the Islander boys. But I'm going to explain to you something that I never should be bringing up, yeah? A lot of the New Zealand gangs, I get along with all of them. Mainly because my family, who were boxers back in the days, especially my dad, I had family members that were in Black Power, and I got family who were involved in 4 other gangs as well, yeah? And this is the reason why I get along with these other gangs that I'm not going to mention, because I don't want the New Zealand government thinking that I'm gang related. But these gangs, I actually grew up with them when I grew up in New Zealand. So I was a little shit at the time, and they were heavily connected to my family members, and my family members all used to pay respect to my dad because my dad is the oldest sibling in his family. Yeah, so it didn't matter if anyone was gang related. When they all needed to sort situations out to help out Samoa, they would come to my dad or they would come to my mom to have sit downs in order to help overseas. This is the reason why I know a lot of these gang members, yeah, from New Zealand, and I've got nothing but love and respect for all these gangs in New Zealand. And this is the reason why I'm going to explain this story in a specific way so it doesn't harm anyone's name. So the reason why Montana is so upset at me is something that I just realized only today. So I'm going live to explain thoroughly why Montana is upset at me and why he put out that video last night. And this is something that I didn't realize, yeah? So what happened was, after the fake address thing, remember how he gave out that address and the boys went to see him? Montana was still on live, and he was still going off at Underworld Bill, and he was still mouthing off like a little kid brain. These guys are older an older guy, so obviously he should know better, you know, like that talking rubbish over the internet. And when I say talking rubbish, I'm not talking about belittling people's stories. I'm talking about offering people out, all right? He knows better. He knows that old school way is when you see each other, then deal with it. You know, there's no need for this, oh yeah, we'll meet up and when you see each other, do what needs to be done. Or if you want to do what Underworld Bill done, and he got all these celebrity people involved for him and Cash to have a fight, that's just a legitimate way of keeping him out of trouble and keeping Big Cash out of trouble. That's their thing, you know, and their drama. I'm not talking about their drama. All I'm saying is Mobtana knows perfectly well that getting on here and making threats and talking rubbish is not the way of the old school, yeah? When you see them, you deal with it. It's as simple as that. So what happened was when he gave that fake address, obviously the situation that occurred, I never knew nothing about it, yeah? But they actually went a step ahead before they even told me what happened, these boys in New Zealand. They reached out to gangs in New Zealand that were locked up in prison, yeah? And they asked these gangs if any of them knew where Mobtana was. And they explained to these gangs, look, we got nothing against Mobtana, but just tell him, be careful what he says about the brother in Australia, because the brother in Australia is only doing what he's doing for the younger generation. He's not trying to make a name off your war story. He's not trying to make a name of Underworld Bill's war story. He's just telling these stories with the hope that the younger generation learn from it. So when these boys reached out to the prisons and asked who knows Mobtana, apparently Mobtana had just gone home. So when he went home, this is when someone gave him the videos, and this is when Mobtana started bridging up to Underworld Bill. And he got on TikTok for the first time ever in his life, you know? And obviously everyone saw those videos of him having arguments with Underworld Bill. But when he was doing this, he sent out that address and the boys found out it was a fake address. The boys on the inside, when they found out about what happened, straight away they got a hold of people that were connected to Mobtana, yeah? And this is a story that I wasn't even gonna tell, because I wasn't here to belittle friggin' Mobtana. I didn't really care about what he said about me. But the reason why I'm saying it now is because the video he put out last night, I was like, whoa, hang on a sec, freaking what the hell did I do wrong? This guy's full fucking putting it on me, you know? I was like, all right, you know what? I'm not gonna bridge up over social media. I'm not coming to New Zealand anytime soon. I've still got 18 months parole. So you know what? I'm just gonna tell it how it is. So when the boys inside prison got the word that that Mobtana had said something, straight away, like I know like 11 boys that are locked up in New Zealand, yeah, that I'm very close to, and straight away those boys sent a message to people that were close to Mobtana, and they told them, look, what he's saying is none of our business, but if he says anything bad about the brother in Australia again, then it's on, yeah? So Mobtana's people sent a message to Mobtana and told him to keep his mouth shut, all right? Like pretty much told him, keep the peace, because the brother in Australia is only trying to do this for the younger generation. So stop trying to pick fights with him just to try to get a name on TikTok, you know? Like you're saying things to try to ruin his reputation when he didn't even say anything bad about you. So remember, the boys on the outside sent a message to the boys in New Zealand prison. The boys in New Zealand prison sent a message to his people, and then his people sent him a message to, you know, keep his mouth shut and stop talking on social media. Now, this is the reason why Mobtana got off social media, and he wasn't. You guys have seen it. He hasn't been on social media for over a month now, yeah. And it wasn't because Mobtana was scared. He got told from his hierarchies, you're belittling someone that's trying to do something for the younger generation. You know, like, what are you doing? You know, so he had to get those hard words from his people in order to, you know, shut down his TikTok and keep his mouth shut. But obviously, he's now back on TikTok and he's trying to elevate his his status by full throwing me under the bus now, you know. Like when I was watching these videos, I was like, say swear this bloke. Anyway, I realized just today when all this situation happened is my close brother who was there with one of Montana's hierarchies, he has now been moved to Supermax in New Zealand. All right. Now that close brother of mine who got moved to Supermax, he's got a lot of pull in New Zealand, yeah? And he was the one who actually said it in a gentlemanly like way to Montana's people, please, like, you know, enough is enough. Don't let us hear you say one more bad word about the brother in Australia. Simple as that. And then that's when it all went quiet. But then my brother got moved out of Supermax, out of maximum security, I think about 2 weeks ago, and he got sent to Supermax. And obviously all of you guys know from my stories, in Supermax, it's very hard to send messages outside and you can't control nothing. When you're in Supermax, you're effed up, yeah? And that's what happened. He's now in Supermax, and Montana is now back on TikTok and running amok. I don't know if the bloke's on drugs, I don't know if he's drunk, but all I'm gonna say to Montana is this one thing, yeah? When you went live once, I saw a whole heap of kids at your house in the background. There was, I don't know if they're your kids or if they're your nephews or your nieces. Seriously, bro. Like, I'm 42 years old. You've got at least 5-6 years on me from when I came in, yeah? Bro, grow the fuck up, yeah? Be an example to those kids that are at your house. Be an example to the younger generation, the young adults that are coming through now, because you have been through it. Underworld Bill has been through it. I have been through it. But the difference between me and you is you have never, ever, not once, reached the friggin' levels that I've reached. You're nothing, you know, compared to the levels that I've reached. And I'm only saying this because I'm upset at how you went and put that video out last night. So I'm gonna tell it how it is, bro, you know? And I'm gonna leave it at that. It's as simple as that. I'm only saying this to all the gangs in New Zealand, you know, that know Montana. I was never here to belittle your crew or Montana. I said what I said for the younger generation to learn from it, and this guy's turned it inside out. He's trying to make a name on TikTok, and now all of a sudden, he's freaking up the ante. You know, like you guys can watch the video for yourself and then tell me what you think about it. I'm not going to speak anymore on this. To all you younger generation, young adults out there, just remember, every time I get on live, I say it all the time. When you decide to get yourself involved with gangs, crime or whatever, this is what you're going to go through. This rubbish that I'm going through right now, you know, trying to change my life, but I can't because I've always got people trying to bring me down, all right? I was watching a guy today, baby, what's what's his name that I showed the video? It's on I sent it to your Instagram page. Give it here. I'm going to show you guys a video here of this Māori guy in New Zealand. How do I get into your... All right, this one here. Yeah, I'm going to show you guys a video, yeah? This guy is a guy from New Zealand, and I don't know if it was God's way of saying to me, Triggz, you know, just stay calm, keep doing what you're doing a good thing. But God put this friggin' video in front of my face as soon as I started getting upset about the video that was put out about me last night, yeah? And this is the guy I'm talking about. I'm going to let you guys listen to it yourself, yeah?
I don't go back and forth in the comments of people, not because I can't, but because I don't give power to people who showed up empty-handed. I'm not here to make randoms famous. Go get your own fame. Never explain yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. Even the Bible says when you argue with a fool, you end up looking like one too. Growth requires focus and peace requires boundaries. If you stop for every little dog that barks, you'll never reach your destination. Not everyone deserves access to you.
How about that, guys? Not everyone deserves access to you. You know what? Just because of how good it is, I'm gonna friggin' put this up again. I'm gonna let you guys listen to it again because this is how much I loved what this guy said, yeah? I don't know him from above, so he has reached out once or twice, but when I saw this video, I was like, wow, bro, this guy, you know, like, he actually, like, says things that matter, you know? And why am I sitting here talking about the rubbish that Montana's saying about me? It doesn't matter. So why am I talking about it? So I'm saying it to you guys, and I'm also saying it to Montana and everyone else in New Zealand. I am never ever going to talk about Mobtana ever again. I don't care what he says about me tomorrow or tonight. Yeah, I'm gonna follow this video that I just showed you guys, and I'm gonna freaking live my life to the best. I'm gonna live my life the best that I can, and I'm gonna focus on what is important. What is important is my family, my wife, and my son that I'm gonna be having in April. You know, one more time.
I don't go back and forth in the comments of people, not because I can't, but because I don't give power to people who showed up empty-handed. I'm not here to make randoms famous. Go get your own fame. Never explain yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. Even the Bible says when you argue with a fool, you end up looking like one too. Growth requires focus, and peace requires boundaries. If you stop for every little dog that barks, you'll never reach your destination. Not everyone deserves access to you.
Wow, God bless this man for the words that he shared with all of us on social media, you know, and also God bless each and every one of you that has come through and viewed all the stories that I've spoken about today. I just want to send my big love and respects to everyone that was tapping up the likes, everyone that was sharing gifts, especially Nuclear and Will Hub. My love and respects to you guys, and to everyone that supports me. Without you guys, I wouldn't be doing this. Honestly, with the amount of messages that I get, this is the reason why I keep doing what I'm doing. This is the reason why I don't just disappear, because I feel like I'm actually saving lives. When I first got on this platform, I thought that I was just helping, but I didn't realize until people started explaining it to me in my inbox that I'm actually saving lives. So to each and every one of you out there, I love ya, I appreciate you. It is what it is with Triggz. Have a good night's sleep, guys. Take care. Yeah, Nuclear, shut up.